and call to order the last Finance Committee meeting of the year. So we'll
Linda's last.
I'll say
finance
Linda
committee.
is look.
my last meeting forever.
Morning.
But
Forever sounds too long, Linda.
I
How about for the?
Never say
for the
forever.
time- for
She's
the
got a
time
town board meeting in a couple weeks.
right. So I at this meeting, we're going to review our agenda coming up for the meeting on Monday. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Doug and Kate.
Yeah, Kate's gonna share a screen when she gets situated there, and we'll just kind of blow through the agenda. So
Perfect.
kind of actually, just before we start that, just so everybody's aware, Jim and I both know this. We had a conversation yesterday, but Supervisor Pete Inglesby called me yesterday. You know, we've been talking for quite a few years now about the Canandaigua Farmington booster tank water project. It's a $9.5 million project. It came in the bids. They opened the bids this week, and the bids are $4 million over budget.
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
At 13.5. So you know, no idea what next steps are going to be. Kind of got to regroup, and then we'll figure that out. So anyway, back to the agenda. That was sidetrack. That was a big one.
How did their, just to finish that out, how did their bids relate to ours for a similar project?
Yeah.
Well, so it's similar when it comes to pipe and equipment. What's not similar is it's a welded steel tank.
Hmm.
And right now, as we all know, and it's has a lot of concrete in it. So between the cost of steel and the price of concrete, and even getting the materials here in a timely fashion, it's really skyrocketed the price.
I see.
Of course, the way I say it is that's the difference between Farmington and Canandaigua doing the work. But
That's one way.
That's
of
my
saying it.
opinion, but
So. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, okay, just wondering. Thank you.
More here.
so good morning, Terry.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Go with me.
So, all right, couple of public hearings. We do have the public hearing on the consolidation of the Andrews Road Water District into Canandaigua Farmington. The debt service has been paid off on that. And the Uptown Business Improvement District. So skipping ahead to resolutions. So the first couple, for the purposes of today, I'll just skip over these first couple of resolutions. They are thanking people for their contributions, which are very, very much appreciated to the town over the years. And then skipping ahead, how about
Budget transfers.
budget transfers 274. There were a couple of them that are in there. I think 3 or 4 of them. I think they're a couple $1,000 each.
Yeah, they're all very small, 2,500 maybe at the most, little
Yeah.
ones.
But they are attached to the agenda, the details on there. The next one, 275, is the debt service. Oh, this is a budget transfer also, but this is a larger one, so we did a resolution. Kate, you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. So earlier this year, as you know, we had a conversation in Finance Committee about the bond and the length of the bond for the 26W capital improvement project for the tanks and pump station. And we had opted to go for a 15-year repayment on that bond, which made for a $230,000 principal payment and just over $44,000 in interest, which all the funds were in the water district, SW 500, to make that payment. We just want to make sure the funds are in the correct accounts to do that. So you see here the ban interest, that was something we had budgeted to pay off the ban. We ended up paying that through the capital project. So we were able to just move that over a little from the ban interest, a little from the bond interest to make the principal, and then
Right.
then what was left in interest made.
Right. In 2020, when I put together the budget, I put a placeholder for the bond anticipation note interest in the actual 21 budget, but we didn't end up needing that because we paid it through the project. And then the amount was higher because of the 15-year term, as Kate was saying. So we're still, it's all in the 21 budget. There's enough money there to cover it. It's just putting the money back in the correct lines to be able to pay it. So
So we don't have a ban, we converted the ban to bond.
Correct.
Okay.
The next resolution, 276, authorization to withdraw funds from the New York State local retirement system. So, and Kate, feel free to jump in here, but essentially the local retirement contribution came in higher this year than what it's been the last couple of years. It was actually higher than the budget amount. We do have this reserve fund that can only be used for this purpose. That's got $250,000 in there that year after year after year, we do absolutely nothing with. So I thought this was a great opportunity to pull a little bit of money out of that since it was more, since we can't do anything else with that reserve anyway, and there's still plenty of money in it. So
We created that back when the was projected, I don't know, was it 2010, 12, somewhere in
Somewhere
there.
in there,
The
Terry.
next year was just gonna go sky high, so we
Right.
shoved money into that reserve or created the reserve at that time.
Yeah, I think the ERS rate's going down in 2022, like maybe 7, 8, 9%.
I think it is too. I was on a managers group yesterday, all day conference, and Cuomo all throughout the last year has been talking about a $15 billion budget deficit and everything. EJ McMahon, who does a lot of the budgeting for the state, was actually, and he's saying that he is very confident in projecting a $6 billion surplus for the state
Great.
this coming year, and that will continue to increase over the next 5 years.
Yeah, I got the rate from the school district, so
Yeah.
on their audit committee too. So.
I'll just note that it was only the general fund that was over budget. Highway and water were totally fine on that one, and that's a general fund reserve, so.
So did our costs go up because we have a few more people, or what do we think drove it? We haven't seen this kind of, and with the other funds not going up, I was just wondering why we think one went up and the other one's down.
I think it was a combination of things. I think it was the rate was a little bit higher. I think we did end up adding
I think
employee, yeah,
9 people, I think.
that had signed up. Plus, I also think that truthfully, when we did the 21 budget, we may have just been a little light on that number for the retirement. So,
All right. Well, it's good to use that reserve. As you say, it's been $250,000 of taxpayer money sitting there not being used.
Yep.
And restricted for very tight uses, so this
Yeah.
is a good use of it.
that one is very, very tight, and that one does not require the permissive referendum like some of the others do and everything. So we can just go ahead and make that transfer and then be able to close out the year and finish that off. So.
Is that something that we should be working down consistently because it's so focused and so?
It's
I mean,
probably has
leave it with
too
a
much.
certain-
Yeah, exactly. It probably has too much money in it, right? Because we could fund basically a couple of years essentially worth of retirement contributions just with the reserve fund. So we could probably draw it down a little bit and just short the budget.
Just
A little
establish a
bit.
floor there.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Yeah, be careful though. 'Cause
Yeah,
I mean,
you don't
if-
want to go too
No,
low, right?
I mean,
no,
if all this stuff with the stock market, with the rates going up and if the market tanks, then
Yep.
then their funds tank and their rates they go up high, so.
what is our annual? Budget?
Contribution.
Well, it's,
So
Do you know what the
we
total is?
prepay, which gives us quite a significant discount. We pay in December instead of February. And I believe this year it was about 330 or so.
but that was all-
total between all 3
Right,
funds, yeah. Yeah, and the majority of that's definitely general fund.
oh, right, exactly.
All right.
The next one is Jean has identified a better, basically a rate for credit card transactions. Kate, I don't know if you have anything to add to that or not. I don't think Jean is with us.
Jean
right?
is on the phone.
Oh,
I
she is?
think she's the phone call-in. She just said she's listening.
Jean, do you have anything you want to add on that?
Sure, if she can. unmute
She might
or
not be able to unmute.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's what she's changing our credit card contract payment with that next resolution to a lower rate.
These are fees that we tend to pass along to residents, so this is really a
Correct.
savings for the residents, which is great.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. The next resolution would be setting a public hearing in January for a public hearing to rescind the tax cap override law that we did earlier this year, because the budget is tax cap compliant. Next resolution is surplusing some technology items. I think just a couple printers, right? Just-
Yeah, that printer that was hanging out in the assessor's office and another printer that we had in the town manager's office.
The next resolution is just acknowledging both justices have provided us notice that their court records are available if anybody wants to take a look at them. The next one is lease agreement.
Lease
Jim,
agreement for the John Deere wheel loader. We leased it year to year for the past 5 years. Due to its lack of value, it's increasing substantially to keep the older equipment for our lease. So instead of paying $1,800 a month, they wanted $2,500 a month. I asked to lease a new loader for $2,195 a month, which comes to $26,100 a year. So that for the next 5 years, so we have a consistent 5-year lease agreement with John Deere Financial. And we're going to trade in our loader to towards a new loader. And the reason why I want to lease it is because it sits in the salt all the time, especially all winter, and it does corrode more than you think. And I don't really want to own something after 5 years that's been in salt for 5 years. So
so
They
Jim,
take that into account in the lease, so we're not on the hook for any,
we have,
for a damaged loader
correct,
because it's all rusted.
it's all rusted, correct.
so Jim, just, so this is an actual increase, but it's like $100 more a month, right? And we get a brand new
Get a brand new
loader
loader.
instead of the one that has some of the issues, so.
Yes.
What is
Right,
the,
and the other one, they wanted
Um,
more money for the old one?
Yeah, yeah, something about that, I'll call it almost be like upside down, Linda.
Yeah,
So the value of the loader as today is not worth what it was last year. So they want to increase our payment from 1,800, I think it was up to 2,500.
wow.
Um,
So the
It
new
was-
one is the way to go.
The new one's way to go, so 5-Star Equipment is going to purchase it from John Deere Financial. We're gonna put out of that purchase, to give us 23,000 to put down towards a new one. And that puts us at 2,100 a month for leasing. And every year, we're not doing this every year.
Right, so will we have to make a budget adjustment for this line?
No,
Okay,
this will be, we budgeted for it for next year.
okay.
All right, so the next resolution is Jim is selling, wants to surplus the forklift that we have, that's
Yep.
2004.
Yeah, we have an older, we purchased another used forklift that was heavier. And longer forks for getting equipment up and down, and we want to surplus this and put it out. And sell it to hopefully another municipality that comes in with the right number, so.
Next one,
Next one is the Verizon, we use Network Fleet for GPS tracking. Network Fleet is outlived its lifespan. The new one is called Reveal, thank you, Kate. It's actually a better program for the town. We can keep our data longer. We can look back further. We can actually now track when the plow is up, plow is down, sanders on, sanders down for our county miles that we plow in the wintertime. It is a touch more expensive. I don't think it's more than $3 or $4 more a month expensive.
it's about $60 a month.
$60, okay.
Yep.
Thanks for.
So that's $2 a unit.
Yeah, $2 a unit.
Yeah.
And we don't buy the equipment, they give it to us to put into our equipment.
But you have more functionality.
We have more
With the
functionality, we have
purpose
better
for this.
history, we have better tracking.
Yeah.
We have better codes that we can receive on the new software. We could create better geofences. Network Fleet did what it was supposed to for us for a long time, but they're not doing anything new with it. So we're gonna go to this.
All right,
Next resolution is acknowledging the resignation of Corey Westbrook, who is leaving us. After that is replacing a vacant position that we currently have in the water department with,
Ryan Farini.
thank you. And Jim and Lindsay and the group interviewed and did all the reference checks and
Correct.
he has some experience and everything, so.
I used to
great
work for the
addition.
city of Canandaigua part-time in the water department.
oh, great.
And
So just so everybody's clear, so we currently have a vacancy in the water department from Mark leaving us earlier this year. That replaces that, plus we're gonna have another vacancy in the water department after January 3rd from Corey's resignation, so.
So we have to look for yet another person.
Right, and then transfer station labor, Sean, right? I think Sean's actually already started.
he
Right?
started last Wednesday.
It's been a big addition out of the. One more. Anyway, okay, maybe not.
That's it.
So I guess we're to 287, right? Is it ready?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the, okay, so this is the new application that Canandaigua Shores has made. You remember a couple of months ago, the board did not extend the time period for Canandaigua Shores. So they've made a new application with a new design, new layout to the town for part of the property being rezoned to mixed use overlay. So this resolution refers the application to the planning board only for the planning board to provide an advisory report back to the town board. All this does. And then we go through the process like normal and you'd make the decision in January theoretically, if you wanted to move forward or not.
That's if the planning board comes back with,
Yeah, right. Once they come back with their opinion, then you make the decision whether or not you want it to move forward, right?
our meeting in January is toward the end of the month, right?
So we have two. So
Yeah.
actually that's on here too. January 10th, the organizational meeting, and then January 31st is the other meeting that we'll need to pay bills and stuff. So there's not enough time for January 10th for the planning board to review it. So it would have to be the 31st or even February. So
If they're through with
if
their
they're right,
analysis.
right,
Hey, when do we have to have everything in for this organizational meeting?
Friday. Just kidding.
Next Friday.
Next week.
If that happens.
Christmas Eve? That's me,
Yes,
Christmas Eve, Ted.
Got it.
And we're closed that day, so really.
Grinch.
Yeah, so, yeah,
But there shouldn't be too much, I mean, it's org, so.
Next
that'd be
Friday's
standard
Christmas Eve.
resolutions.
Yes,
We
that's
can connect
Coming
it.
quick.
I just,
Well,
fee schedule stuff.
yeah.
That'll be
Accelerates
probably our bigger
December,
conversation.
The older we get, the faster it goes.
And you have a little text about April first, right?
Okay.
We do.
The next one is the consolidation of the Andrews Road Water District into the Canandaigua Farmington Water District. Of course, Andrews Road Water District paid off their debt service this past year, and so now that's just being consolidated into Canandaigua Farmington. The next, any questions on that before? I know we talked about that one already when we met with Farmington. The next one is the adoption of the law to create the Uptown Business Improvement District. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. We've gone through that, I know, at a previous finance meeting. I don't know if there's anything anybody has on it. I did have some questions from the city and I've offered to meet with their bid, but and I know Terry, you were with us at the LDC meeting. We talked about it a little bit last month and Adeline and I know Bob Taylor, who represents the city for the LDC, but he's also on the bid. He spoke in support of it. I met with the mayor this week. He was in support of it and understands what we're trying to do. So again, it's supplemental services that we would be providing for Uptown which is why we would create the bid so that they're funding these supplemental services that are above what we would normally provide for the taxpayers of the town of Canandaigua.
The city would be, paying these supplemental.
No.
The town. is,
The
right?
town,
Yeah.
the town businesses essentially.
That'd be
And then-
nice if they were willing.
Yeah, that would be nice, but I don't think they're willing. And then we excluded the single family residential homes in the form-based code area from this, so they're excluded. There were, I don't know, it's in the thing, there's like 11 of them, I think, or
I
something
thought
like
it was
that.
9.
Maybe it's 9, it's something like
You
that.
said there was a $60 million valuation in there too, right, for the property or something like that, so.
Oh, what?
What was the valuation of the property in the bid?
Oh, yeah, it's 50 and change. It's
Yeah.
50 million and change total for Uptown, yeah.
So did the city or the Canandaigua bid have a concern about this or not?
Originally, there was misinformation. They thought that we were going to be doing events and that we were going to be competing with the downtown bid.
And when you say, Doug, that the single family homes, the existing single family homes are excluded from this, does it go forward that the new single family homes are included or excluded?
So, okay, so it says, what the language says is for the purposes of while they're being used for single family homes, the existing, that they're excluded. Because some of those single family homes are in the form-based code area, and more than likely, if they ever go to sell their house, those would be purchased and then converted into something along the lines of the form-based code, in which case those properties would immediately become part of the bid and taxable as part of the business improvement district. The proposed construction of new single-family homes in the form-based code mixed sub-use area, everything that we have to this point is those new single-family homes would actually be part of a commercial enterprise, thus the land being leased. So those would still, the landowner, the commercial landowner would still be taxed as part
Part
of
of
the
the
bid.
district.
Yeah.
Do we have a map of the bid somewhere?
Yes, it's the form-based code. It's the same
Which
map.
one? The whole form-based code
Yeah,
area?
yeah.
So, and that's the orange and the red.
Correct. Yep.
So in the red area, there's no single family homes allowed to be built in the future.
Correct.
So that would be
Correct.
not apply to that area, it's just the orange one then.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the mixed use sub area. Correct. Yep. Yep.
Are they still planning on leasing those lots that they would create? They haven't changed their
Correct.
business model at all.
No, they haven't changed it. They're continuing to refine their plan. They've come up with a couple of new things that specifically for Uptown Landing that they're talking about incorporating. They're working with multiple other developers now for that overall Uptown Landing concept. I know they're talking about some flex space in some of the buildings, some of the apartment buildings on first floor, like 15,000-20,000 square feet, so that there could be technology, manufacturing, and a number of different things in those flex space areas on some of those buildings in certain area, but they're working with an architect. They actually hired an architect to lay the whole thing out for them. So they're trying to design it so that the traffic flows, right? You would get heavier traffic flows, like maybe at a restaurant in the evening or that sort of thing. So being able to lay everything out so that they could use the same parking. So like during the day when the restaurant's not as busy, then the flex space could use that parking. And then when the restaurant is there, then the flex space would probably, so they're really trying to think through everything and utilize all those
It's
different
good, 'cause we
things.
talked
So,
about that when we created the form-based code. so
Yep.
it's great.
yeah. Public hearing, oh, so this resolution 290, this I know has come up before. The ordinance committee has talked about this. This is a very, very small change. I think it's 2 words on the double frontage lots. It's just a quick code thing that the zoning board had asked us to take a look at.
What is a double frontage lot?
Quite a lot.
Corner.
Yeah, when it's on 2 roads.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Yeah.
The next resolution is the reappointment of Andy Griffith to the LDC board. He's asked to continue. His term expires the end of the year. I'm happy to answer any questions on that. We'll also have at your organizational meeting, the town elected representative to the LDC. We'll need to have that on your organizational meeting. Also, resolution 292. I'll put something on the organizational meeting also, but just with our current situation, I wanted to make sure that we didn't have a lapse between January 1st and January 10th when your org meeting is in terms of our health officer. So just going ahead and reappointing Mary here. And we'll do like a affirmation type resolution at the organizational meeting. So, and then we do have, I believe we have a, oh, I'm sorry, the next resolution 293 is actually officially setting your organizational meeting for January the 10th at 6 p.m. I did put in there, and I wanted to talk to you guys about this. I put in there 5 o'clock start time to go into executive session to interview potential candidates for the town board vacancy. I just want to touch base if that's okay with you guys, but we can always amend it if that's not okay with you, but I put that in there so that we could then start the organizational meeting at 6. And then if you guys have consensus to appoint somebody, you could, or if not, that's fine too. So
It's reasonable.
you guys can think about that and you guys can talk about that on Monday night.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can talk. I think that'd be a good start
Okay.
to have that option there.
All right. The next resolution 294, I believe we have a pay period before our organizational meeting or right about the same time. So this just does the salaries. And then we'll do the hourlies once we do the organizational meeting like we normally would do. So the salaries are all exactly per the budget. And then any questions on that? Okay. And then alcoholic beverage, typical thing, we say we don't have any opposition. And then, oh, I was thinking we were sureties. There's one more, I'm sorry. Kim Burkhardt. Jared, I don't know if there's anything, this is appointing that we have an existing vacancy currently on the.
Yeah, this is for the existing vacancy, not for Sarah Linda's vacancy. So Sarah Linda will be on the board until 12/31. And then starting in January, we'll have to look and appoint someone to fill the remainder of her term. But this is an existing one that Kim has filled, an existing vacancy that she is filling at this time.
And then lastly is Linda's favorite and final surety resolution.
There's only one surety, so we don't have to remember the block.
Yeah. I was even trying to find another one for you, Linda. I went
And
and
then we
jammed
can
a
have
bunch
a
of them
block.
on there.
Could still block it just for fun.
I'll let you present this one, Linda.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness.
All right,
We'll
guys.
print it up for you and present it to you.
I gotta jump off. I will see you guys on Monday.
So, yeah.
Bye
What
bye.
is Muck's Hospitality?
The alcohol.
So I believe that is what you and I are looking forward to. I believe that's
Oh.
our Irish pub. I believe that's the corporate name for it.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
Where is that?
Where is that located?
In the new Canandaigua Crossing
Yeah.
building. Mhm.
Oh,
Wow, have they already got a liquor license?
Yeah, they're applying for it. They're an existing business, but they're applying.
Oh,
for it
she's
because it
applying
takes
for it, got it.
Because it takes such a long
Is
process.
that the
So they
building
never-
they're building up on,
Next to
Yeah.
Tom Wall.
next
And well,
to the town walls?
Mhm.
We're full
Walking
set.
distance for me.
Yeah, yeah.
See you there.
What's
Well,
this?
we'll start
Okay,
making
it's
happy
dangerous.
for
What
Christmas.
the country club's doing?
what's it?
This one here, this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the surety bond for the country club? Is that what that is? Walbrook Park?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the new tent
That's
and all
that
that
event
stuff.
center they're building.
Right. Okay. All right, we have one more thing we wanted to chat with everybody about, if everybody's done with the agenda. When Jim's been trying to figure out some equipment related matters, and he sent me an email. Actually, Kate went through this, but we just kind of wanted to discuss it with everybody. Do you want to?
So what spoke to Kate and Doug about is I'm trying to save us some money. Every month, equipment costs have gone up. What I budgeted in September is not the number that I've gotten today. And what I want to do is, in the equipment that we want to purchase next year, I like to put a letter of intent to these vendors to hold the price in December, because I know in January it's going up again. Example, like one of the excavators has gone up almost 10,000 in 3 months from September until December. And that's everybody. That's just not one vendor. It's anybody you want to buy equipment from right now is not holding their prices without a letter of intent from any municipality or business. So we have, we've already bought the dump truck, which we bought back, well, I say bought, approved back in August of this year. We have a mini excavator, a skid steer, a roller, a wood chipper. What was it? Am I missing anything?
Yeah, but, and, well, yeah, there's
The
a couple
trailer.
things. So why don't we just kind of go through them one at a time, because there's some for highway and some for water, so.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Kate, do you want to kind of go through, because Kate had also looked this up for us, right? So so one of the things, the 21 budget does have revenue for the sale of equipment, which we haven't received any of that yet.
Right.
So what, do we have that? Is that coming?
It's on, the auction's going on right now.
It is for the, so there's two
There's
trucks.
there's two 6-wheelers, parked truck and a water van.
Those are the ones that are sitting out by the fill pylons, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know when the auction ends?
And December, I think next week, somewhere around next week.
Okay. And then, so the wheel loader, right? So we just talked about that, right?
Right.
So then Jim just talked about the skid steer, the 3-ton roller and the wood chipper. So the wood chipper, and I know I indicated, you're right, it wasn't in the capital plan, but we did put it in the budget for 45,000, right?
Correct.
For the thing. But the skid steer and the roller are not in the budget, right?
Currently.
Correct, currently.
In the 2022
Right.
budget, right? Okay. So that's what we were trying to figure out. So the skid steer, is that replacing something?
No, we're buying a new one.
So that's to add a second skid
Add a
steer
second skid steer
to the highway equipment inventory. Because of the need, we rented one
We
for
rent
a
one.
long time this year, right?
Correct.
But you and I had also talked about moving some stuff to water. Was that the one?
No, that was the track machine excavator.
You're confusing me, just.
So what I did was.
He does that
we're
on
gonna-
purpose. you know.
I know he does, and he
Oh,
does a good
we're gonna
job
split
of
the
it.
cost between highway and water 50-50 for the mini excavator. So that there isn't one side is paying more than the other,
Right.
or it's not being used in water or highway. Each department paid for each half of it to use it in their own department.
And what piece of equipment is that?
That's a mini excavator.
So, okay, so that's the mini, because that's
Because
the
we
one
were
that
gonna
Parks
replace
uses for trails, and then,
We were gonna replace the
Right.
backhoe, but if we don't replace the backhoe with a mini excavator, well, unfortunately, the parks people can't use a truck and trailer to take a mini excavator to where they have to go. They could take a backhoe anywhere on the road
right,
because it's registered to be driven anyplace.
okay. So how are we paying for the skid steer and the roller?
We received additional funding from the capital project. Right around $133,000 for labor and equipment when we did the capital
Oh,
project.
right, but, correct, but so there's extra money in the highway fund to cover these.
Correct.
Okay,
And you want to encumber it for this year at the end
so
of the year.
you want to
so-
order and then encumber so that when it comes in
Comes in,
22,
yeah.
right. But there's enough there to cover the cost of these?
Yeah, there's enough to cover the cost and
Okay.
do what we would like to do with the remaining equipment. Couple things, like just with the recent windstorm, we don't have a wood chipper. When you want a wood chipper, you don't find a wood chipper, because everybody who has a wood chipper is using their wood chipper.
Right.
Okay, so that's one. Two, we rented a mini roller. And when you want a small roller, we try to get from other municipalities, but again, they want to do the same work that we're trying to do. So instead of renting one for a month at a time or 2 months at a time, to do not only general fund and highway. It's easier to own our own equipment, so we can do the work, we want to do the work. We've been trying to replace a trailer for the past couple of years, to get rid of the older trailer, because the one that we have is not heavy enough to carry the roller legally. So we get a trailer that could do that also. So these are all the items I asked for.
Wait,
There was
The
no
trailer-
There was no trailer, but that's what I'm asking for.
so you want the trailer in addition?
It's with the roller cost. I put. it
Oh,
there
that's
with-
right.
Oh, it's
the
built into the
3-ton
roller.
with
Yeah,
the trailer.
with the trailer.
Yes, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
So the wood chip is in the budget for 2022.
It is, yep.
So
Right.
this, it would just be the skid steer and the 3-ton roller with the trailer
With the trailer.
that would be getting ordered.
Okay, so let's take a moment. Does anybody have any strong objection to Jim going ahead and placing the order for the skid steer, the 3-ton roller and the wood chipper that are all essentially budgeted for 2022 because you have the money that we're just gonna encumber from 21 for the other two, right? Essentially,
Well, that's what I was thinking, that they, it's two different categories. One of them is, it's in the budget for next year. And therefore, we should order early to get any kind of discount that we can, because we know we're gonna execute on their budget.
right?
And then the other category, I'm still not clear, what is it? We have the money extra from doing that work, and that's why we can afford those? If we
That's
uncover
correct.
that, okay.
Right,
So if
so
you-
the water project reimbursed the highway fund for the work, and so there's extra money now in the highway fund, essentially.
Yeah.
So if you order them now, that'll hold the December price.
That's what I would like to
Yeah.
do.
Because there's no,
Yeah.
really no incentive for them to say, okay, we'll hold our December price so you can buy it in January. Where's the, you gonna say we're not gonna buy it from you?
Yeah, and here's the
Well,
other thing.
plus there's-
Some
You
of this
place the
equipment,
order.
like some of this equipment, we're not gonna see for 8 months.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
You might as well just do it now.
8 months. I mean, if you order a mini excavator now, unless we find one someplace, we're not gonna see it till this time next year. I mean, it just,
It's
things
just how
are
it works, yeah.
terribly far out.
Well, if you don't do that now,
You'll have a higher price.
you wouldn't be able to encumber the money either, so,
Uh,
right? So,
Can
I mean, you could,
We
but,
would have to appropriate. funds.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not, some of this wasn't in next year's budget, so
No, we
you
would
might
have
use
to
this year's money to pay for it for next year, so.
next year.
Makes
and We
sense,
would
yeah.
do a budget amendment, what I would call an amendment to the budget, to decrease the revenue line that the money went to from the water project, to increase the 51, 30 line, 200.
I'm not sure it's good that he understands that process.
I know,
Jim, just say
yeah.
budget transfer.
Budget
I'm
transfer.
kind of impressed and kind of nervous at the same time, so.
So it sounds like we might need to do a budget transfer or
Yeah.
amendment resolution.
But we
that
can
would
do that
allow
for
you to-
January.
I'll say in January.
Yeah, you're just wanting to
don't-
place the order.
I just
so
want to
that-
hold the
Yeah.
equipment
Yeah.
at December's pricing.
Okay,
So
you
with
don't wanna
December-
Order it on a 21's budget. You want to order it on a 22.
Well, with the letter of
I would think we
intent.
do it on
yeah.
22's budget, Kate.
Okay.
Okay, I think it'd be cleaner and easier, so we don't have two different budget years.
Got it.
So, because we're not gonna see the bill, we'll have a letter of intent to say, yeah, we're gonna purchase this. It's gonna come out of the 22 budget.
Okay.
Well, I think though, we would encumber that money that we got this year so that you can have it for next year.
You could cover it, or you could put it in the fund balance,
And then.
and
appropriate
then
it.
take
Take
that
it out of
fund
the budget
balance and
2022.
move it over in 2022 one day.
Yeah.
That might be easier for bookkeeping purposes.
One half dozen.
Okay,
It'll keep our encumbrances down lower.
right.
Okay, so you lost me with the backhoe. Can you help me?
So we had budgeted for a backhoe, we did not budget enough money for a backhoe. We don't use backhoes anymore. We do everything with a mini excavator or a track or the skid steer. The only people that really use the backhoe is the parks, because they can physically drive it anywhere they need to any park in the town. Because they don't have a license,
Right.
one, to operate the equipment, and we can get the equipment there, but to let them use it from time to time. But a lot of times, we're using too many excavators, either one in water, one in highway, or both when we're doing projects.
So you're saying we're not replacing the backhoe?
No, we're not, no.
So we're just gonna keep the
We're gonna
backhoe we
keep the
have.
backhoe.
Okay. All right,
They can utilize that for whatever they need to at any park.
okay. So then, and this is Kate's note, but Kate, I think it's a great question. The truck that just got totaled, was that water or was that highway?
That was a water truck that went to highway.
So it's technically a highway truck,
We
even
did
though
a
it's
transfer.
We
blue.
did a
Yeah.
transfer, so we received just over 30,000 for it.
Right.
I want to wait and see. We've continuously talked about a need for a bucket truck for our street lighting, for our tree maintenance. We've talked about, we
I'm
tried.
just waiting for him to say vac truck.
Back truck.
Wait,
Christmas is coming, Jim, you know?
I would like 400,000.
where's Santa? Where's Santa? I'm looking for Santa.
He's right here.
Jimmy
He's
Christmas.
right here. Well, you guys bust my.
We're
bust on me
teasing you.
about
We're
the back
teasing
truck,
you.
but the safety that back truck brings to not only our employees, but to the people who depend on the utilities to get there. We don't dig through a fiber optic line. We don't dig through a gas service. We don't dig through a gas line. We don't, we don't hit stuff. When you're digging with the utilities in the ground, like I'll give you an example, like Emerson Road now, because they had to updo the power and the phone and the cable. I have utilities in every inch of right of way right now that supposedly are located, but you never know until you get there and start to do the work.
You're digging, you
What is a
did.
back truck?
Basically what it is it's
It's a beast.
a beast. It's a rotary vane vacuum that creates a deep suction. Got an 8-inch tube on it. You use a power washer to loosen the dirt and it sucks it all up and out.
Okay.
And when you're done, I can show you videos. It's you have a clean hole. You don't have anything next to you running down the road. You can locate any utility that's in the ground without a stakeout, and you don't end up finding it the wrong way. Like, not that we do it on purpose, but usually when you hit a NICEAG line, they get really upset and they charge us a couple $1,000 when we do that.
Just to oversimplify it, it sucks up the earth.
Yeah.
It really and leaves the pipes and everything intact so he can find them.
So right
But
now,
it's what, a half a
we're
million
renting one
dollar
right
piece
now.
of equipment.
It's, it's 10,000 a month, okay, but I'm going out.
Isn't that in the Grinch Still Christmas somewhere?
Yeah.
So right now, we're over in Oakland, we'll keep the
Yeah.
ton of curb stops that over the years have gotten or pushed over road. So instead of me making a 4x4 hole to fix this curb stop, we just simply vacuum down in 3 spots, fix it, we fill it with sand topsoil. So less invasive to digging up someone's front yard than just suck it out. And
Does it just
not make a
like
mess.
push it back out when you're done then? Is
No,
it-
we bring sand, put back around to fill up the hole, and then we fill with topsoil afterwards.
What do you do with the dirt that gets sucked
It comes
out?
back over
Yeah,
here to the
it
filter,
comes over here and gets
Yeah.
dumped.
so that's where it goes.
All right, so in terms of the highway ones, you're gonna at least give them our letter of intent, right? Because those are all for the 22. Now, what about the water ones?
Water. Should be the mini excavator. Well, half of it's coming from water, half is coming from highway. I'm sorry. they don't know wires.
Yeah. Okay, so
Okay, so we received back from the capital project into SW 500, which Canada consolidated, just over $95,000 for some water main work that the project purchased for consolidated. We're gonna take 55,000 of that money. That's half of a mini excavator to pay for their half in water. We're gonna take the balance of that money because we're gonna buy water meters this year that we took that money to do a water main project on Kramer Road. We're gonna take that 40,000 we have left of that 95,000, and we are purchasing some water meters this year to get them on order to hopefully come in April, May.
Yeah,
Okay.
water meter
So they'll take care of that
PLC.
95,000 that we received back to the capital project.
Jim's creative. And then the next one is,
Before you go on, can I say, the truck that you were talking about, that
The
got
back
totaled,
truck.
was that the accident?
Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
Okay, just,
It was the accident.
sorry.
And I don't mean to continue on that for a second, but like Doug and I just tried to work with the city to get a bucket truck.
so many times.
So many times. We constantly borrow East Bloomfields, which is so, and I really don't like using the school districts because that's really so.
I'm not making so
You
nervous
know,
when that old truck's here. It's
It's,
so old.
it's questionable. And so therefore.
Well, even like you said, though, I mean, the bucket truck, it's like, it would come in super handy even for like doing signs off the side of the road, or even the light posts on 332 and all the different things we have to do, right?
My hope was to do sign work, because you wouldn't have to be in a ladder in a ditch to replace signs, but also on the other side of it, street lighting can help pay for it, so we can repair our street lights, just like the Wynyard did. I've got some on Fox Ridge that they're broke, but I don't have a good way to get to them without finding somebody that let us borrow a bucket truck. Trimming trees.
Even truthfully, even like our flagpole, I mean, you can make
Yeah,
a
the flagpole.
huge, strong argument for a bucket truck, because even like anytime the flagpoles break in any of our parks or cemeteries, we have to borrow a bucket truck to get to the top from somebody.
So it's just, I would like to think that we can take that money and then look at, I don't know, a shared service agreement, maybe with East Bloomfield, or because their bucket truck is replaced, maybe the school district wants to replace theirs. There might be some possibilities there. I don't, to help split the cost.
Which comes first, bucket truck or vac truck?
Oh, vac truck.
Knew that was gonna be. the
Which
answer.
one costs more?
Vac truck.
Yeah.
You like
Like
little
10
Oreo
times
cups?
more.
Yeah, really.
It does. 4 times more.
How long does, just becoming new to this, how long does this stuff usually last?
Well, depending on which piece of
Which piece of
equipment.
equipment
So
is
our
what?
heavy equipment, we're going 10 years on.
Okay.
Our dump trucks, 10 years with a 2-year reserve. And then,
So vac truck is forever, right?
well.
Yeah, right.
At least for our
Something.
lifetime.
Tim, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So we have a vehicle equipment replacement policy that actually dictates the types of vehicles and when
I
they.
think we put 10 on the sweeper, so 10 years, so that would be.
Yeah.
probably the same for that.
I'm Doug, I'm sorry, you're.
Okay, so then the generator, we got that figured out, right? Because that's gonna be the project, right?
I don't know if we're doing a generator.
That's what, yeah, that's, I think.
Oh.
Question. but
That was a question that,
It came up.
keep.
I mean, we can, if we have the figure, we can put it in and finalize the project, which we had talked about was putting it in, finalizing the numbers for the project, and then just waiting, because you said it's a
Okay.
42-week.
So the generator, currently on Goodale Road, we have one booster pump station that does not have a backup generator. So what we have to do is when the power goes out, we have to physically go up there with a generator, plug it in, turn it on, and then, check to see if the power comes on in a few hours. Good,
The one by Pierce Park?
no, that has a generator.
That's, I thought it did.
Yeah, then there's another one up on the hill
Oh,
by I call it the microwave tower. up-
Okay,
up
yeah,
there at
yeah.
the top.
okay.
And that's for the generators for what?
It's for a water booster
For water
station.
booster, okay.
And was thinking of using some funds from the water project to buy a generator to install there so that it would always work instead of waiting for us to get there to turn the power on, to have pump water to the residents. It is I think you said, I told you, it's a 42-week lead time.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if you were to order it today, it's 42 weeks later, it will show up.
Hopefully.
That's all, and everything I talk about goes either through OGS or ProSource or piggyback off a contract of another county, so. That being said, that was 40
something, 45.
45.
approximately.
The generator itself is around 30-ish thousand, and you got the labor and equipment to install it, so. The reason why is Goodale Road is always losing a phase. It doesn't necessarily lose complete power, but it loses a phase of power. And it may come back in 20 minutes, it may come back in a few hours, so. It depends on when they get out there to fix it. It's not the best, it's not very reliable power on Goodale Road, so.
So this be bought through the capital project, the big water project?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
We have the money there and these water related issues that are definitely related to the ability to provide water that are all part of Canada Consolidated. It's like,
So, but it wouldn't go into the O and M, I mean, it wouldn't be, that cost wouldn't go in, and we'd just be paying it, so the residents
right, we just
there
pay
wouldn't
it
be
through.
hit with an increase.
Right, it would just
No.
be all included in that capital project because we have extra money in that, so it's already factored into the debt service and stuff.
What area does that water service?
A service is Goodale Road from Smith Road to Knapp Road. So,
And then we have our grant money coming too, so we're just trying to, because we had said that project, remember, was 7.5 million. So we're just trying to get it as close to that as possible, so that the grant money all comes in like it's supposed to and everything.
Just spreading it out.
Yes, exactly.
well,
It's a good problem to have, honestly. Jim and the guys did a great job of keeping that project, again, on time and under budget, so there you go.
and also there's, I'll say a good problem is money comes back to the highway and water.
Right.
From the project to get reimbursed for our equipment and labor that we can purchase equipment that wasn't budgeted for, but is needed in our town.
Yep.
So,
Using that capital project to pay for some of these other things that weren't originally included in the project doesn't jeopardize our use of the 3 million from the state for.
No, we checked on it just to make sure, because it's still all related, like even like, you know how we always say Kramer Road, right? There's a benefit there to all the residents in that loop and stuff, so we're able to absorb that
Well,
right
yeah,
in the capital
benefit
project
to
and that all
Canandaigua
that stuff.
Consolidated, because we can
Right.
feed 2 ways, so,
Right.
3 now.
as well.
So,
Huge debt service, right?
Right.
We've done it as a
Oh,
district.
yeah, separately, it would have been huge. Right.
So,
so
It sounds like then that Jim's proposal is pretty much a go.
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll ask
Spend a lot of
about-
money,
talk
don't
about
you?
the job. I do.
He's very.
Yeah, no, I'm not being the.
I'm just giving.
I'm not saying, I'm not trying to sound like an ass when I say that, just I do. I said I do spend a lot of money.
Jim's really good at that game, you know, the 3 shot with the
Yeah.
cups and where's the P? Oh, it's under this one.
You know what I always find about Jim is if there's money there, he'll spend it, right? So we go through this whole thing and he's about out of money and mysteriously he stops spending money and then we're like, what Kate and I were talking, we're like, oh, we can reimburse highway for the, all of a sudden Jim has money he needs that he's spending on something else because he's got money again.
Yeah, but I'm never over budget.
He's not, he is
Never
never
over budget
over
on
budget.
If it's not there, you're not spending
He
it.
always
Right.
stays under budget, but if there's a new revenue source that
Oh,
comes
yeah.
in, he'll take it.
So,
Hard.
and now, yesterday I was talking with Kevin O'Malley. He got a grant for storm, snow and ice. So we're going to spend some money to get reimbursed on some, and this is a whole conversation I haven't had with anybody, just learned about the grant yesterday, but we're gonna buy some different live cutting edges. We're gonna do some different stuff with equipment, salt monitoring. Because he really truly believes that we need to do something around the lake with our de-icing. So he found some money. And when we get something together, we'll go to Public Works and we'll discuss it there. And then we'll come back. We'll have to create a policy in town and how we're doing it and where we're doing it to see if it works.
Good.
But you know, he's got almost $200,000.
Yeah, That's a great partnership.
I'm sure you'll find places to spend it.
Well, it's not just our town, but it's, you know, it's
Oh, yeah. it's
Gorham,
all
us,
around
the city. We've
entire
been
lake,
talking the past
yeah.
year and a half about the, you know, controlling the salt.
Well, if there's a
at the
way to
lake.
reduce, you know, because you know where it goes.
Right,
It
so
goes into the
we're-
lake.
I don't have much more information than
Yeah.
that, but. You know, we still get money from, we worked with Kevin and one of our employees who's retired. And our excavator that we get reimbursed for rental and his time to offset costs there. I don't know how much we've done so far. Kate, do you remember seeing anything?
I don't recall exactly how much, but it's been a pretty consistent flow.
Yeah.
And it also helps the other municipalities that don't have the equipment or time, because it works not only in our town, right, but all around the lake.
It does anything around the lake, and our equipment and manpower gets reimbursed to the town, and it's, I call it revenue. You know, we're covering our costs, plus we're getting money for our equipment, you know.
Well,
we-
plus it's helping the health of the lake.
Right,
So,
so there's that stuff that we also have a little, you know, it could be 10,000-20,000 a month over a few months, so. Yeah, we do that also, so. Yes, I spend a lot of money and I get a lot of grief for it.
He
Don't
does
feel
get-
bad about it, Jim. It's your job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, you know, you guys know I was on vacation, so the best text message I received while I was gone, right? The absolute one of the best text message ever. I get a text message from Jim while I'm in Mexico. And it's a picture of the vac truck sitting in front of town hall with a caption says, Doug, I maxed out the town credit card.
Yeah.
Does it have a $400,000 limit? That's really not a good thing.
No, but we can do it by the month.
For the next 5 years.
Well, you cross off the bucket truck and a couple other things, and all that's left is the vac truck.
Back truck, yeah, well, yeah, like I said, it,
So when we're sitting here next year. at this
Right,
time,
exactly.
I put it in this year's budget.
Yeah, it's in the budget.
It's, I put mine and Doug said $1.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, it's funded at $1. So,
You get a little one, you know, scale them out.
So,
Okay. Anything else for today?
I don't think so.
Any motion to adjourn? All right. So we'll talk to everyone on Monday, I guess.
yes.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye, bye, everybody.
Right.
See ya.